Welcome everyone, it's Evelyn from Twin Flames 3344. We have a Divine Masculine Twin Flame read for you. It is 12/12/12 today. We do have the full moon that started last night here on the East Coast at 12/12. And I'm going to get right into the read today. The SIRIAN Starseed deck, which is the main deck for the read, was cut and dealt at 9:33 to 34, which is the Hermit. And the 33 is the Christ vibration, but also the 7 of Wands and the 8 of Wands. So standing up for yourself without getting defensive. And the 34 of the energetic exchange back and forth, expressing your feelings, arrows of love. And then we had the read completed by 9:52 to 53, which is the Hermit again. 52 to 53 was important because that's the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords. And yesterday they came up for me, I think just a random read I was doing, they came up back to back. So again, the Queen of Swords and the Knight of Swords. The other cards, for those of you who don't watch me all the time, the other cards are the Rider-Waite Mini. We have the Tarot Sexual Magic, the Numerology deck, Romance Angels, I said the Tarot Sexual Magic, right? Yeah. The Golden Universal Tarot and the Gilded Tarot. So there's a lot of energy here. And plus with the gates, these new portals open for 12/12, I'm definitely feeling it yesterday and today. So I don't know if you guys are too, but I got really sleepy yesterday and today, which I don't normally feel these days. So there's definitely some intense energy there. So at 9:52 to 53, we completed this read. The major arcana here were Starseed, which is like the Fool, Ascension, like the World, the Hanging Man, like the Hangman, Alchemy is Temperance card, and then Transition is the Death card, and Abundance is like the Empress card. Before the read, because I do pull a few extra cards on either end, depending on what I'm guided to do. And today, the Shadow card also came up before the read, which is like the Devil. So we had a lot of major arcana, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 within the main read, and then the 7th, the Shadow, before the read. And then we had 1 Pentacle, 1 Sword, 1 Cup, and 2 Wands. So very well distributed there. And it was also the 11/12. So going from yesterday at the 11th to today the 12th. And the 12/12 portal, of course. And then we have the court cards of the King of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles, and then after the read, the Page of Cups came up. The numbers for the read were, we had triple 5s today. So 5s have been a big deal lately because we had 4 5s the other day. We also double 10s, which is that very high vibration, the trill of the 1010. And other than that, just 3 and 8 came up. The code line number was just the number 8, which is the dance between the masculine and the feminine. It's like the 0 of the pie with the line through it is the centeredness of the masculine and feminine, but there's no movement until you get to the 8. So 8 is one person dancing within their own masculine and feminine. So that was the main number for the code line today, regarding compassion, physical activity, and the love partnership. And the message was very cool today, and it went into a few things. We also had, let's see, the numbers other than the code line added up to 16. And then, of course, the 8 next to the 8 is 16 as well. So that was coming up for some reason as well, the Tower energy. So the message here around compassion, physical activity, and love partnership was the key, and the Southeast was coming up here, of instead of, and this has come up before, instead of Christmas or Christ Mass, Sophia Mass was coming up here. So the key, the Southeast Sophia Mass, and the I, the capital I was being shown. For me, the lowercase I is the chakra system with the third eye. So the capital I had a line across it today, was showing me the maturation of your chakra system for the masculine here. So the key of the Southeast and the Sophia Miss with the matured or the grown-up chakra system, and God coming to the table now as you toggle up in your feminine. God coming to the table for, like, you know, it's like a business meeting, having a discussion. Comes to the table with the keys, or in other words, to toggle up the feminine energy. And then I was getting, from partnership, in love partnership, I was getting the Jesus, basically, mercy ship was very interesting as the the divine feminine and masculine together. So let's see, TSE, the acronym was coming up, which is a type of encephalopathy, transmissible spongiform encephalopathy, which was interesting because it's not an encephalopathy or a brain issue due to bacteria or something like bacteria that actually has DNA or RNA genome in it. It's just this kind of encephalopathy is caused by something that's just protein, prion it's called. And all right, so with the code line that I just told to you, the key Southeast Sophia Miss with the matured chakra system and God at the table comes to the table with the keys to toggle up to give to the wise hanging man, or in other words, Jesus. And then Sweet Home Alabama was coming up, so sweet home. Jesus' sweet home, or the house of Jesus, the house of Christ. The key Southeast Sophia Miss and the 8 of the masculine and feminine dancing within, the dance of the wisdom within the hanging man, Jesus. And then I was being shown like the number 11, except for one of the lines had gone off to the slant, like in a southeast direction. And there was a couple things that were coming up around that, and one of them was the Eiffel Tower and the Leaning Tower of Pisa. That sometimes we must lean into the wind in order to defy gravity. So if the wind is coming from the southeast, and this was from answers.com, and the date was actually September 23rd, 2012. If the wind is coming from the southeast, you must lean into it or go into that direction where the wind keeps you erect, right? Because if the wind's coming at you, you're resisting it if you try to walk into it. But if you're not walking into it, you just lean into it and it keeps you erect. You need to face the air sign, in other words. And then Eurus was coming up. Eurus is the god of the east wind. And this is from crosswordtracker.com. And you notice that crossword is a cross word or an angry word. So Eurus was coming up about the southeast wind. It's specific to the east wind. And then Parnassian was also coming up, which has to do with French poetry. Also a type of butterfly called Apollo, because as far as the poets, it was also Apollo's mountain is called Parnassian. This type of butterfly is found in alpine and Himalayan mountains. And the Parnassian came up in regards to the definition for the southeast wind. The east wind to the Greeks, the Eurus is the god of the east wind. So then when I was looking at this, the advertisement on the webpage was a picture of Little Red Riding Hood, a musical panto, to get tickets for the People's Light show here. It was from November 13th to January 5th. But it literally was a picture of a red-hooded archer, so the Sagittarius energy, pointing his arrow his right, my left. But that was significant here. So the archer was coming up as Little Red Robin Hood, though, not Riding Hood. It was definitely a Robin Hood type thing here. With the archer, though, with the bow and arrow. So the Greek wind gods, southeast wind was coming up. These are all headings that came up. The southeast wind, and then home came up, which was regarding a North Carolina wind study from November 14th, 2019. Our mission was another header that came up, and that was regarding the Southeast Wind Coalition, which was a nonprofit. And then also from Merriam-Webster.com, the Southeaster, the strong Southeast wind, came up about the time traveler for the Southeaster. The first time that was used was coming up as 1753. Trade winds were coming up here too from the Free Dictionary. And tropical prevailing winds So the trade winds are tropical prevailing winds blowing northeasterly in the northern hemisphere and then southeastern in the southern hemisphere. Also, another heading was coming up about that the south was slow to harness these winds. And that was 2/16/17. So regarding the wind gods, we have the east is Euros, which was one of 4 from theo.com, THEOI.com. So Euros is the east wind, which also relates to autumn. The Animois are the wind gods. I don't know if I'm saying it properly. But it also, the Euros of the autumn dwelt near the palace of the sun god Helios in the Far East. In Greco-Roman picture on this page, Euros was holding a scythe and grain, basically like a humble man in the wheat fields, cutting the wheat, separating the wheat from the chaff. Notos is the south wind, so the north or the southeast would be Notos and Euros, which it says here that they clashed in the quote that they were using. The stormy Zephyros, or the west, Zephyros, and the sky-born billow-driving Boreas, which is the northern wind. The wing of the red fiery Euros. And then there were some quotes from like the fall of Troy. The winds also depicted as horses in stables of storm god Aeolus, who provided Odysseus with the Ennemoi in the Odyssey. So what I was picking up from this, just the names of the winds, the east being Euros and the south being Notos. I was getting Euros and notes, right? That the winds were equating with money because they were talking about Euros and notes, which are, like bank loans, notes. And then the acronym AL was coming up. So Alabama came up right away, and that came up with my son yesterday too. He was talking about the beach at Alabama. And for me, Sweet Home Alabama came up right away, which was referencing the code line about Jesus and God all coming together with it was very interesting about the 3 playing on each other, the Christ and the Sophia and the God, and I'll tell you that in a second. But the 2 lines of the 11 where the one is falling over, not just the Eiffel Tower and the Leaning Tower of Pisa, but was also referencing the visual of a rocket ship out of the gate and ready for blast off. And that was at 11 a.m. this morning, right on the dot. And I got a little bit of a sour stomach then as well. So the key is toggling up in the southeast winds the Sophia mess and the strength of the queen in her clarity of the inner divine masculine, divine feminine dance of the hanging man. The hanging man regarding the AL, which was coming up as not only Alabama, so then Sweet Home Alabama, or the home of Christ. It also comes up as India Mulberry, the Baseball American League, of course, the Arab League, Artificial Life, and the country Albania, which has come up for me before because of the beach jail, Jale. And then it's also the domain for computer science, and it's the code for aluminum. Or just, it means in Arabic, the house of. So literally the AL is the house of Jesus, the hanging man. So then the 4s were coming up here, referencing the 4 winds and the 4 seasons, that every 4 years are the elections and the Olympics, and how significant the cycles of 4 are. And so the college years were coming up. The freshmen, the sophomore, the juniors, and the seniors were equating to the page, knight, queen, and king. that the freshman or the fresh is the new and the birth, the 40 days and 40 nights. 40 in the deck is the Page of Cups, the new. And that's very much the Jesus baby energy as well. The Soph of the sophomore, the Soph is coming up as the knight, the warrior, and the movement and the growth. The queen is then coming up as the junior or June, which June is that month of warmth and nurturing. It's also Junos with Jupiter being the sister and wife and the goddess of the pantheon, also of women and marriage, of childbirth and the moon, and the protector of the state. She's very stately and regal, and her counterpart is Hera. Also the Juno asteroid, which happened to be 240 kilometers, which 24 is the Queen of Wands. It's also the last letter of the Greek alphabet, the end of karma, the Omega, and also it's the asteroid that's one of the 4 brightest, which is referencing to some of that the technical drawings I did of the monad, and the reference to that, or the brightness to pi, which came out to be that 0.8. I don't know if you remember my technical drawings. I think that was back in April. So a lot of these numbers were coming up, and then again the 1 of 4. I was referencing the 4 cycles, and then the 1 of 4 comes up again regarding the asteroid Junos. And then we get to the seniors, and that's the scene, S-E-N, of the king. The king's all about protection, and also referencing sin, or the sentinel. And pet meds were coming up under sentinel, and that was at 11:11, so there's something important about your pets right now. And so the definition for sentinel is potentially susceptible to an infection or infestation that is being monitored for appearance or reoccurrence of causative pathogen or parasite. Or in other words, the king, one who watches over for the enemy to invade. So I thought that medical definition was very applicable here. All right, so again, there was a referencing here of the Sophia Mess, the Christmas of Sophia, and that it was the coming together. The key is the southeast winds coming up from the southeast of the feminine energies in a dance of wisdom with Jesus, or the hanging man, but coming together with God, coming to the table. But it was literally referencing the Christ and Sophia, but that God is actually the third energy, right? That is the third energy, not the God and the mother God and the Christ, but the Christ and the Sophia, and that God, that is the love, that third energy is the Quantos. So that was very interesting. So as we get into the read here, and the Sophia Mass, I don't want to forget this too, was referencing also, you know, if you watch Magenta Pixie at all, you know, she always talks about the critical mass that we need in order to make changes, that's what the 9 always come through about. So this was also referencing that critical mass being the Sophia, or the feminine mass, is what's helping raise the energy to make this shift with this portal from today, the 12/12 to the 12/21, and then going through Christmas, using that feminine energy, and the third energy, to toggle upward, using your psychic abilities to go forward during this period. I was also getting, and it's not just from this read, from the last several reads that I've done, the moon, as opposed to the full moon, was coming up reverse, which is like a new moon for me. And it was one of the messages I got during the read today was that this full moon's actually flipping over, like into the new moon position, and acting more like a new moon than a full moon. It was very interesting. So as we get started, we have the Starseed upright, the underlying energy here. And then the 4 cards beneath were the 10 of Pentacles, the 5 of Swords, and then this is the shadow card, and then the 7 of Pentacles upright. Then the Starseed on top, which is like the Fool. And as I wrote that down, I was getting the domino or the ripple effect. So the Fresh Start, which is where the freshmen started coming up. I was getting the Fresh Prince also of Bel Air, but I was getting the Fresh Prince. With a fresh start and the fresh new prince, that Page of Cups, after the end of family business or large institution, or dysfunction or loss of big money, at war in detox of chaos, of reaping rewards of the divine feminine's heart. The Queen of Pentacles reversed, Taurus, married or traditional, religious or committed. The Knight of Swords rushes back as the Empress reversed and High Priestess reversed, or they can just be one person with a secret out. The Messenger Truth is coming back out of this negative feminine energy, the Empress reversed and the High Priestess reversed, about deception and no peace. This full moon flips to act like a new moon, Delta Dawn, the bewitching hour, waking up in the morn. Justice of new life, prior offering, the Page of Wands, the King of Cups upright, the Knight of Wands reversed, and then the Queen of Cups upright. So here, right after I told you about this reference to the freshman, sophomore, etc., to the Page, Knight, Queen, and King, in the underlying energies, that's what came up right in a row together. The Page of Wands, the King of Cups, the Knight of Wands, and the Queen of Cups. So it was the King and Queen of Cups, and then the Page and Knight of Wands. Just the Knight of Wands was reversed there. So inspired King of Cups holding back passions from the Queen of Cups, reaping rewards while he grieving loss, regret, or the King of Cups and Page of Wands child visits or has arrived at the Queen of Cups to reap their reward and grieve what's been left behind, and fresh start for them without you. So grieving, like, you know, especially like you leave a workplace behind, like my son just did, about grieving having left people behind that you enjoyed working with. Justice, divorce, or Libra had been offered money, a new life, before water sign adult child returned to the Queen of Cups, to the garden, to garden and grieve. And that's coming up as like the constant gardener, to gardener and grieve, or G and G. The Queen of Cups overseeing the constant gardener, which was very cool because my son's middle name is Constantine, and he just returned to the Queen of Cups, which is very much referencing the divine feminine. So the Queen of Cups overseeing the constant gardener, which is also junior, with time to take a break and to do some shadow work, to grieve, to dig up the old, like the constant gardener, and overturn it or till the ground, to mulch or compost. Warm and cozy in mother's arms, fabric of our lives, white, greenish, rust, and animal print blankets by the creek, or water and dirt. Desolate area where once was much growth. Now to rise and take care of her for once. The Magician reversed, insecure, letting go of responsibilities to come together with twin under the radar. Harvesting and separating the wheat from the chaff. And then Euros was coming up again here. Getting rid of the dead weight, or in other words, the crap. Past life relationship comes up as the underlying energy, and beneath that was flirt. The Dark Priestess reversed, using spell work in a dark way, holding back feelings and energy, or delays in travel or communication. Sexual frustration with the Queen of Cups reunion, hanging in each other's arms and or their laps, with a gift egg and a dessert to help transmute the past and initiate growth out of controlling the third energy, which was at 1236, which is the Hangman and the Ten of Wands, that burden that needs to be dropped or confessed. Spiritual partnership came up, which is 27 in the underlying energy, and beneath that was completion, which is the 9 of the collective consciousness, the Hermit, the Wise One, the end. As we turn the page, it's 1237, the Hangman and the King of Cups, unconditional love. The Knight of Wands up in the early hours, in disconnect and coming clean, or still a little sneaky, and on a roll, to the Hermit with the light, passionately coming in. The Two of Wands reversed, being alone without options, powerless, dependent, or single with no money. Or the Divine Masculine Hermit is with the kids, one always out with friends and the other always spending his money. Looking south to go left or right at the Y in the road. Quasimodo standing on top of the clock tower wall, looking down from his darkness, his loneliness, his powerlessness. or the one he's rendered powerless. New life in loss of money, power, or independence, grieving the loss of success under the radar reunion of spiritual partnership. In the recent past is the Queen of Pentacles reversed, surrenders to falling short, conceding to the Queen of Swords reversed, or negative self-talk, inspired by jealousy, or refusal to love or rejection, giving up the battle but not the war, yet exhausted by kids bringing out the worst in her. Kids lose the battle but still are at war. The foundation being the King of Swords with back pain, a painful ending or betrayal and feeling weak, or dealing with pain and weakness, or egos, pays the bills, or new life offered due to work ending pain that came on the back of working hard and being a humble servant to those with egos, or weak, or victims of pain. Triumphing over out of control ego, the central energy here is ascension, the world complete, the world in his right hand, having the world in his hand, and the Ten of Pentacles reversed family or business dysfunction or misaligned values or losing big money in the war, offering a little too late, and grieving the lost Three Cups, the Queen of Wands free from prison of dependence or children, the Nine of Pentacles reversed, the Spender, and the Page of Swords reversed with a mouth or negative or lies and spies, or kids now living with family or parents away from their parent, or one or the other. The challenge being also, or everyone at work is sad to see you leave. The challenge being the Hanging Man in limbo or seeing new perspectives in the aftermath of death, transition, or dark night over the 4D rainbow bridge, frustrated by third energy of the sealed divine feminine and standing up to others at the workplace with issues there. Grounding and integrating debt, imbalance, inequity, scammed, or dropping the ball, and facing the facade, dropping the facade to break patterns, or unfairness to the divine feminine in sharing the third energy, not expressing feelings or energy exchange with third party from work, or issues with interference there, or death or end at work. Somebody quit, was laid off, fired, and now with clarity of synchronicities and choices that are better with clarity of synchronicities and choices that are better than what you have now, in losing hope with a strong connection to the Page of Pentacles, student, child, or opportunity, money, or help, research of the gold coin, or just help to come clean. And that was at 109, which is the Magician and the Hermit. At 110, we have the Magician and the Wheel of Fortune, destiny, about the Hierophant, marriage or commitment and establishment. Now crowning is the alchemy, or my alky, impatience in offering the truth, to triumph and expose all, or truth to children, or about them, resting in the sunshine, or meditating the central sun in a divorce, breaking contract, tradition, or spiritual truth, and alternatives and outside-the-box thinking man, or Taurus reversed, where the worst is over, with sovereign reversed, a loss of money, power, and independence, single status, or financially draining, child, or dependent. Separation, destined, fallen angel, and pit in stomach, unloved, in debt, not sleeping, and rising above, to gain clarity in being dumped or overwhelmed about the past, or by living in the past, in inequitable relationship, a debt, or scammed, and got caught, or came clean, or the Empress reversed, refusing to put out more money, or she could be a mean woman or boss, or an ill parent that you must care for, or just didn't tell you about the issues at work during a transition or death where maybe you weren't present there at the moment. The Emperor reversed, destined to clarity about women, or women flashing boobs or new boobs to the world, and this could be his partner, while he is hanging out hiding, looking at boobs or porn under the radar. And this could be children too. You know how like teenagers or early 20 kids might be out at the bars flashing their boobs. But this was definitely coming up, so I don't know if somebody might have gotten new boobs. It might have come up. So again, The Emperor reversed, destined to clarity about women, or a woman who flashes their boobs or new boobs to the world while he's hanging out hiding, looking at boobs or porn under the radar. So being, contradictory, being a hypocrite. Or looking at women in his life and thinking why he was destined to fail or bad news and falling short on rescue efforts. Depressed King of Wands reversed without a hug from his deep connection, partner, or friend. Soon is the Three of Cups, a reunion, a party, group, or socializing, moving, ending marriage, or visiting a friend or relative's house, suffering in silence or stressed out about a party, or coming together, and or gossipers. Standing up for self at work and home, or about leaving both. The King of Pentacles, King of Swords, are seeing synchronicities with the King of Cups, orchestrated by God, or three kings with options arranged by Taurus establishment, or three men going to a show or a game or watching TV together, or the King of Cups bringing them together to make an announcement or to do charity work to help others in need. The Divine Masculine is seeing himself as the Death card, transition portal, detoxing chaos, letting go to fix, mend and repair, and reap then what's left over, or retire. Time for the next phase in life. The Page of Pentacles, student of gold coin, to work more creatively and align with desires, or hire an assistant, an intern, or child to shadow his work. To be free of the chains that bind, to manifest what he wants and do it peacefully. The romance angel cards here were keep an open mind, calling in your soulmate, honeymoon, free yourself, and in the full transformation portal. And that was at 136. So the 36 coming up again, which is what today adds up to also, which is 36, the 10 of Wands, ending the burdens or confessing. We turn the page, it's 137, the Magician and the King of Cups. Around him, or how he is seen, is the Eight of Wands, holding back feelings, energy exchange with lovers without option, withholding from the Queen of Cups, the lover, or connected to this Queen of Cups connected to a love relationship. Clear blocks, Divine Masculine, around lack of abundance. The Empress reversed. Judgment, announcements, a wake-up call to action by the King of Cups to recover from rejection, or having lost a child. The wound of the Divine Masculine in the inability for a man to be able to give birth or conceive. So that's a wound that's coming up here. Love, partnership, physical activity, and compassion comes up for the masculine, but even more so today is about the rebirth. Since he can't, as a man, can't actually give birth, it's about, this is his rebirth. He's rebirthing himself. The three kings, guided by God, and the North Star to help with the recovery of the loss of the baby Jesus, or in other words, their star performer. The battle is done, the game over, the student of hard knocks, the chariot bold move for the bulls to split, and the shit used in the garden to fertilize the soil for spring, and turning water into wine, lemons into lemonade, and nickel into gold, or in other words, transmutation, which literally means moving mute, which is not speaking, and ation has to do with starvation, right? The connection to food and the mouth. Transmutation. The mouth and the movement of the mouth and the ability to be nourished through food so that you won't starve. Transmutation. Starved of nourishment or love due to not having opened his mouth and speaking his truth. And as I've told you before, there are two keys here, which are the two portals. The masculine's portal is his mouth. The feminine's portal is her baby-making ability. The Divine Masculine's mouth doesn't work. The Divine Feminine's baby-making ability doesn't work. You see? So in order for the physical union, the masculine must get the courage to open his mouth and nourish himself. The two portals, the mouth and the vagina, and then all the crap go out the back door. The two keys, ground up toggle, ground down anchor. Toggle up to get the divine masculine to open up, and anchor down to ground in the physical relationship. The battle is over with the King of Wands reversed, holding back passions, pushing to emotional limits of depression, and pushing love away. With unbreakable bond, the student of gold coin comes clean about source. No longer spying or trying to catch someone cheating. Grieving the past, the King of Wands reversed, with the Hermit shedding light on it. Scammed, scammer, debt, inequity of the Page of Cups reversed, rejected by the family, the Ten of Cups reversed, and the end of family and or emotional cycle. Pushing the birdie out of the nest or the manger, which manger is to eat in French, the place to eat for free. Pushing the birdie out of the nest or manger, the place that you can eat for free. Breaking patterns, allowing self to fall or mess up. Stop letting the negative family take all your good energy with impatience and bad tempers and fallen angel. Connection, bond, soulmate, twin, ascend past dissatisfaction being alone to freedom, the freedom to leap away from negative emotions. Finally, with justice, which is truth and balance restored to the land. The fresh start for the King of Swords through this portal and the 4D transformation of death, transition, and holding back passions, or pulling back that bow of the bow and arrow, the Queen of Pentacles reversed, is now done. The Divine Masculine challenged by hanging in limbo, the wisdom of perspective in order to come together in joy, without the Empress reversed and her bad temper, and always looking for a fight. Grieving the imbalance, the injustice of rejection of the family, and this was at 210, the High Priestess and the turn for the better, or the Wheel of Fortune. But justice, without the Empress reversed, a bad temper and always looking for a fight, grieving imbalance and injustice of rejection of family, but justice of freedom from them. The fresh start from the war with the Ten of Pentacles reversed family and detox of the Queen of Pentacles reversed, reaping their rewards. The King of Swords complete but impatient and challenged by limbo, death, dark night, and portal transition, transformation, waiting for the winds to die down and the storm to clear so that there's no resistance when he journeys southeast to come together without a fight, holding back or not telling the Empress reversed as to not start a fight, or in other words, causing delays or resistance. Grieving debt and rejection from family to connect to true partner and be free in truth and balance, liberty and justice for all. Amen. New is the reflection of that. A whole new world for me and you. So I want to reference again to the wind thing. So if the winds are coming up, when you say southeast winds, it's actually not going towards the southeast, but coming from the southeast. So that would mean if I'm, just say you're southeast from your masculine, and the southeast winds are coming up, in order for the masculine to come southeast, he's resisting the winds. The winds are holding him up, in other words. Right? He can't move because he's in a resistance place. He needs to wait for the storm to die down, because otherwise, the wind's in the favor of the feminine right now. It's not northwest, where then it would be in favor for the masculine to get blown this way. But in order for there to be a peaceful coming together on the 4D bridge, there needs to be no wind, which is when the storm ends and there's a clearing of winds. So it was very cool about the winds and bringing the masculine and the feminine together. All right. So when you walk into the wind, you don't push and resist, right? Because we're past that. We're not working with resistance right now. It's just holding you up and for you to be patient and let the wind to die down. So if you're going with the wind, that's great, but not to resist it, but to just allow it to hold you up to get done what you need to get done until the storm dies down and then there's no wind again. And there's a peace, then there's a peaceful coming together. So that was a very cool thing. I'm going to pull from the Good Tarot again today, just quickly for a summary card. Oh, what did I want to show you too? There's something maybe not. I did take a couple pictures of the moon last night. So there's your full moon here. I was right at 12:12. All right, so for everyone watching, the best and highest good of all those concerned, what do we need to know? What do we need to learn? This December 12th, 2019, going through this portal, through the solstice of December 21st, and then Christmas and New Year's as well. Please summarize the meaning of this read for us today, its importance. All right, here we go. Oh, well, those came right out. Oh, that's nice. Hold on one second. Oh, that looked like peace on earth when I just pulled it up. The bottom of the deck here is the Seven of Fire, but reversed. And I'll show it to you upright. Seven of Fire. And he's like defying gravity there. He's being held up by the wind. This is like showing, perpetuating that moment where you just stay still and allow the wind to hold you. Perfect. But this is reversed. And the Seven of Fire has to do with standing up for yourself, right? But this is the inability to do that, right? When you feel defenseless to the winds, when the winds actually knock, they not only keep you standing up, but saying, you know, the massa might be getting knocked over, it's so strong. So there's a lot of drama going on. Defenseless to the energies coming in, which I just talked about at the beginning of this read, and also defenseless to other people's attacks coming in. So that he may be dealing with a lot of that. That's the underlying energy. Then the bunch of cards came out together, and look what was on top of it. Love, which came up yesterday. And there's the lion with the feminine lying on them, right? Needing to find that peaceful place to be, quiet and away from the storm. So it starts out with the Fool, which is that leap of faith, blowing the horn, and that can be referencing of the Judgment card as well, that call to action. The Fool is ready to take a leap, the zero of the human embodiment of source energy. The Three of Air then comes up, and I love the colors. I don't know if you can see them really well. The pastels are really beautiful, and the purples. It's like it's referencing the rainbow bridge, getting closer to the heaven side of the bridge than the other. So the this is the Three of Air reversed. So it's like the Three of Swords reversed, which is a healing energy. Forgiveness. This is what it looks like upright. And there's like a little birdie on your wing, and that's an elbow too, whispering in your ear. And all the birds have crowns. She doesn't, but they do. And this is cardinal. So this is a leader on her wing. This came up from my friend a couple weeks back too. So there's a couple over here on the branch, but this one stands out on its own. It's the cardinal. It's singular. There are none like it, right? But she still wears a mask. It's like the you know, the frog and the princess. Only here it's the cardinal bird. with the princess, but she's still wearing a mask because she wants to be a bird like him. And here now, healing after having tried to be something she was not. And then we have the 4 of the Emperor here, again with the lion energy. Very much back in charge, back in control. And this is very Christmassy, actually. It looks very like reddish and greenish, like you would feel in, you know, with the tree up in the morning. And then we have the Temptation card, but it's reversed here, which is about detoxing the chaos of the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden, all right? Or in other words, the 6 of Pentacles, the Garden of Eden. This is detoxing the Garden of Eden of all of the wars and trials and tribulations of the past, you know, how many ever years since the twins have been together. You know, reconciling their differences. Coming back together. All because of one little bite in an apple. And love. And that's the story's end right there. Where he comes into his real power in taming the beast so that his divine counterpart can take solace in his energy. And you notice in this card too, the pillars are like 2 lowercase I's. This is the chakra system and the 3rd eye, okay, for each of them. And there are signs in here too. And we have the triangle. I don't know all the symbols, but for me, the delta is about the pooling of the water. You know, and like in traffic, when coming into one lane, it becomes very slow, and the water there can get very muddled and dirty, and that's not really the water or the emotions you want to be sitting in. And then we have the Leo energy there as well. But I love just that the chakra systems were represented here by they look like lowercase I's. And then this card came up by itself, the 9 of Earth. And as soon as I saw it, before I was able to actually read the 9 of Earth, I was getting peace on earth from this. And it really looks like that, because this is the sovereign. It's about being happy with yourself no matter what. And when every individual on this planet is like this in their sovereignty, that's what we have, is peace on earth. Peace on earth? Is somebody lisping? Somebody might be. So the 9 of Earth is the sovereign, but there's still a mask on this person. Because we are human. We will always have ego. There is a gift of flowers here as well. And then just a couple more cards came out after that, so I wanted to show you them as well. You have the Page of Earth, and this so much reminds me of my stepson. I think this may have come up for my son as well. I think for his birthday I sent him a card, and I think it was this one actually. And it's such that energy of a sweet boy who's trying to find who he is. The Page of Earth, trying to figure out how to manifest on his own, but his wings are still new and fresh. The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, right? The Page of Cups. He's still fragile. And then the 4 of Air reversed, which is about the inability to rest or get sleep, coming out or rising above. Okay, because this would be at peace, but not at peace here. You know, worried about falling on your head. All right, and this has to do with the gravity too, defying gravity. If I'm an angel and I'm upside down like this, will I fall? Or will I float? And then the last one is Justice reversed, because of the injustice of it all. and the need to regain balance. That justice, all it is truth and balance. So when you come clean and speak your truth, and Divine Masculines open your mouth, because the masculine's portal, that's one key. The second key is the feminine and her ability to give birth. But the first thing that has to happen is the masculine has to find the courage to speak his truth and come forward. And then comes the physical union. So I hope you like that, guys. I'm going to show you the cards real quick. And we have the Starseed there in the underlying energy. Recent past was the Sage of Crystals, or the Queen of Pentacles. The foundation there is the Master of Orbs, or Swords. The center energy there is Ascension, which is like the world, the challenge being the Hangman. The other underlying energies there, and the crowning position is the Alchemy card, which looks like a peach pit there, an apricot pit. Okay. Then we scroll across that 4D bridge to what's coming up. The Three of Chalice is upright. Yay. The masculine seeing himself as the transition card, upright as well. Those are two very powerful cards next to each other. And then around the masculine is the Eight of Flames, but reversed, not expressing the feelings, or the arrows of love, keeping those feelings back at the moment. And then we have the Abundance card as the blocks he needs to clear, but it's reversed in lack, and can have to do with someone miscarrying or something like that as well. We end up here with the Five of Flames, which was reversed, ending that battle. And then there's the Five of Cups above that, upright. The Six of Pentacles reversed above that. The Page of Cups there. And then the Page of Cups and the Ten of Cups above that were both reversed as well. But then we end up there on the Justice card. Okay, which is what we ended up with the clarification cards, only it was reversed. But here in the read, it ended up with Liberty and Justice for all. But these cards were just coming up around the injustice of it all. But in this particular read, we're ending up finally with justice. Make sure to drink your water and get your rest. Rise and be love.